All right, welcome to Mine Explorers, episode 76, I think. Today I am joined here with Ella Bordewyk from the South Dakota Mineral Industrials Association. So I'm really excited to talk to her and learn about what South Dakota is doing for their exploration program. So Ella, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Awesome. Yeah, so just real quick, I always like to know how our guest got into mining. So you're a young individual living in South Dakota. How did you end up at a mining association?
Well, I think my story is very similar to a lot of other people's in this industry by complete accident. I needed an internship during my summer over in college. And, I had heard about this exploration company that they needed interns for the summer. And I truly was not interested. I thought I was going to go into something much different. And then my now husband's friend said, "Hey, I'm working for this mineral exploration company. They pay really well. You get a lot of experience." And after listening to him talk about it a little bit more, I decided, yes, I'm going to apply. And as I say, the rest is history. I worked for them for about 3 years, doing everything from administrative tasks to health and safety, reclamation, field work, lab work. And I really just got the full experience of every potential job in this industry. And I loved it. And then about 2 years ago, SDMIA reached out and said, "We need a very part-time executive assistant. Would you be interested?" So while I continued to work for the mineral exploration company, I also came on part-time as the executive assistant. And then after a year, they brought me on full-time to their membership and outreach director position. And now I sit as their executive director.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. I love how you went from like not interested at all to fully submersed in the industry. It's how it happens to a lot of us. Like for me personally, I didn't know anything about mining in my early 20s, and then it like slowly evolved, and now I don't think I could ever leave.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I truly hated mining as a young college student. I didn't realize what mining was. I didn't understand all of these complex permitting regulations and all that goes into this industry. And thank goodness I had a professor kind of grab me by the lapels and go, "You need to open your brain and learn about this because this is a vital piece of everything around you." And took me a while, but I got there and I couldn't be happier for where I am.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Where did you go to school?
So I graduated with my bachelor's of biology and a minor in earth sciences from Black Hills State University.
Okay.
So very small liberal arts college in Spearfish, South Dakota.
Right, right. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting spot of this state because you have like a lot of historic mining history, but then you have a lot of like environmental groups who are very protective of the area as well. So it's kind of like they butt heads a little bit.
Yes, and we we see it a lot where I think it's just misinformation. There's not a lot of information out there about what mining is and what it looks like in the past and what it looks like now. And so that's really what I try to do every single day is I'll run into people at Walmart and I'm the kind of person where I'll strike up a conversation with the cashier or whoever is near me. And they always ask, "Well, what do you do for work?" And so I tell them, and before I know it, we're talking about mining regulations and historic mining practices and health and safety and
That's
all the
amazing.
silly things you do at Walmart, I suppose.
Yeah, you can be an advocate for mining anywhere. It doesn't have to be, on a podium or whatnot. That's awesome. So tell me
Exactly.
more about the association. How do you guys support the mining industry in your local communities?
Yeah, so the South Dakota Mineral Industry Association is a nonprofit. So we are like many of the other mining associations around the nation, where we do advocation work and communication work. So whether that is going into the local schools and helping teachers to develop hands-on activities that are already set to our state curriculum standards, or going to the legislative I apologize. Or going to the state capitol during legislative session and actually working with our policymakers and educating them so they have all of the relevant information for when they are proposing legislation that may affect our industry. And then we do quite a bit of communication work. So whether that is through sitting on podcasts like this, we'll actually be updating our own podcast here, or sitting down with a news reporter and giving them further information about some potential stories that they may have. We just do a lot of different things, and we do what I like to call the groundwork education around mining. So when companies go and talk to their communities that they're operating in, they know that the community already has a baseline understanding of mining, and they can really talk about what they're passionate about, which is their project.
Yeah, that is so important. Getting the social licensing to mine, we see that everywhere. And it really does start at the very beginning of a program. It's not something that you go into halfway through. It's like, nope, we're out here, we're exploring, this is what we're doing. And then you want to involve with the local people as soon as you possibly can, really.
Exactly. And we see so much misinformation here in South Dakota. I mean, we have two Superfund sites here in South Dakota, one being a historic mine site, the other being an Air Force base. And we have what was the largest operating gold mine in North America here in the Black Hills from Homestake. And I think that we have such a rich history, but we have an even richer future.
Right. Right. I mean, it's so true, right? There's always so much more opportunity. So it's good. And, educating the public, that's never ending. That's kind of like one of our biggest frustrations that we see with the mining industry is that we've kind of, for a long time, just wanted the public to kind of go away, but that has never works. That never works in any industry, right? Like you need the public engagement, you need the education, they need to know like, hey, we're an important part of society. We help with, we are a piece of the puzzle across all of modern technology and civilization and all of that. So we need to, get more involved in those conversations. But so what kind of members does South Dakota have?
So we have everybody and anybody you can think of. So the way that our membership is structured is we cater to producers. So think the people who are actively mining any kind of material, and that includes sand and gravel. So we actively communicate with the sand and gravel operators here in the state, as well as with other nonprofit associations that may also interact with them. We also are heavily invested in our exploration companies. And so one of the things that we do is we provide some legislative advice, you could say, for exploration companies, because that is a huge part of the state. And then our vendors and suppliers. So that's anybody who has any stake in the mining industry at all, and even people who may not know that they have a stake in the mining industry. So marketing firms, law offices, and then your more traditional vendor and suppliers, your equipment operators, Butler, Caterpillar, anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's amazing how many industries the mining industry touches, right? Like we need everything. We need everything. No, I love that you guys include sand and gravel. There's no reason to keep it separate. They're still mining. They might not call themselves miners. We also work in that space, right? Like we love the construction aggregate industry. It's great, but so I think it's awesome that you guys have that involved in your own association. It just opens up the door for more advocacy on your part.
Yeah, and I think it really opens the door for that unified message of sand and gravel is a mined material, and it is vital to our everyday life, just like critical minerals, just like gold, just like lithium, just like uranium. All of these things are critical to us. Why not include the sand and gravel guys too? They're critical just as much.
Yeah, their markets are a little more local as opposed to like the global markets from the metals, but still, it's an everyday consumable. Absolutely. Absolutely. So how is the mining industry, what's the sentiment in South Dakota? Are you guys on a good upcycle? Like what are you seeing things?
Yeah, we are definitely seeing an increased interest in exploration here in the state. We have lots of different minerals, obviously, all across the state, whether you're looking at quartzite over on the eastern side, potential manganese in the central states. And then obviously the Black Hills has a rich plethora of minerals. And so we have seen exploration for lots of critical minerals, lithium, rare earth elements, and gold and silver obviously is always a big piece. We always like to say there's gold in them hills if
Good.
we know it.
Yes.
We just don't know where sometimes. And then uranium as well. So uranium is now listed as a critical mineral by the US government. And so one of the things that we've seen is a huge increase in potential uranium exploration. So we do not have any other kind of operating mines in the Black Hills or in South Dakota besides sand and gravel operations and the one operating gold mine in the state. So lots of exploration, lots of really exciting potential. And we're seeing the sentiment from the community, I think, of a little bit of a mixture of, we haven't seen this before, so we're curious about it. And the industry saying, we're more than happy to answer questions about it because we're very passionate about this.
Interesting. So the community is getting involved on the grassroots level. Like so are they just curious about learning about the industry like you've been saying?
So I think that when you go out and you talk to the average community member, yes, they are interested. They may have a little bit of hesitation because mining has a bad rap, if we're being completely honest. And here in the hills, we have a very unique situation where there is quite a bit of discourse between the mining industry and between some organizations that oppose mining. And so one of the things that we try to do is just meet people where they're at. You know, whenever I talk to a community member, really try to listen and try to put myself in their shoes of what they've probably heard from some opposition groups and what we can do to help maybe assuage some of those fears. You know, share the facts, share the information with them. And I think that unfortunately, opposition is usually a small group of people with a loud voice. And their voice is important just as much as ours. And we try to inform them as well, you know, assuage their fears as well.
That's awesome. How do your members take that? Do they like that approach from the association of getting community involvement? Yeah.
Yes, respectful involvement is always the best course of action. And understanding that people are scared sometimes when they run into things that they're not seeing every day. And that's okay. That is a very human reaction. I have a biology degree. I'm very interested in psychology as well. And so I always try to approach these interactions in a way of what can I do to either A, diffuse any kind of fear that the community may have, and also B, make them feel as though they can come to us and ask questions. I want them to feel comfortable coming to us. And so I always try to approach every interaction respectfully.
Yeah, that's great. That's such a great approach. I mean, you can get a lot done just by making it more human, right? That human connection is so important. Good. So what would you say is like the biggest benefit of joining a local mining association, besides all of those other things you just listed?
Yeah, so I can speak from South Dakota's point, but obviously there are mining associations all over the nation. And I think one of the really big benefits of joining a local association is that partnership between somebody who maybe is doing a lot of community engagement and then the company themselves who are working full time. They may not have the resources to do the groundwork of mining education. And so by partnering with your local association, I can bring member companies to any kind of community event that I am participating in. And I will never advocate for their project, but they can.
Right.
And so when people see my face that know I work with the South Dakota Mineral Industry Association, and then they see the member companies that I bring with them, it helps to give a little bit of credibility, and maybe it helps them to feel a little bit more comfortable because here's a person they've already met, they've already talked to, and now they're bringing in all the member companies that maybe they didn't even know they wanted to talk to.
No, that's
And these
great.
companies may not have that contact.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. The networking is such a huge part of the industry, and especially when you can do that on a local level, like that, there's just so much value there, right?
Yes.
So
And
tell, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say one of the other things that I try very, very hard to do is partner with my local universities and trade schools, and then participate in those events and get them connected maybe with the industry in different points. I mean, the universities may not have the right contacts within a company. And so I'm more than happy to help to connect either industry with university or vice versa.
Awesome. Do you do that to get the students involved in the mining industry as well? Yeah. How does South Dakota have a geological program or anything of that nature?
Yeah, so we actually have one of the very few that are left in the nation of a geologic engineering and a mining engineering program.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is, and it's so sad to see these programs kind of dying out across the nation. But I'm very happy to say that our program here, that the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology houses, is thriving.
Good.
We actually just had our teacher workshop where we partner with that program at SD Mines to bring teachers from all over the state for a 2-day workshop. They get continuing education credits, they get a stipend, and they get to come and get these professional lectures from School of Mines professors. And then they actually get to go out and tour member companies all over Black Hills. So whether that is a sand and gravel operation, the only operating gold mine. Yesterday, they actually got to see a full exploration project.
Oh, how cool.
And so they're getting to see reclamation in action. They're getting to see permitting in action. All of these different pieces kind of falling into place for them. And then we share any education or any educational materials that we have with them.
Wow. Is that something that you help facilitate, or is that strictly from the university? You guys do that. That's amazing.
Yes. So we partner with the South Dakota School of Mines to put that on every year.
Wow.
So this is our second year that we've partnered with them. And the program has been going on for the last 3 years.
Oh, that's so smart though. So smart. Like you have the teachers come in. Is that all grades, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yeah. So like K through 12. So they come in, get educated from professors in the industry, right? And then they can go back to their classrooms and then teach, feeling educated about what they're talking about. Oh, how wonderful.
Yes. And we talk a lot about the continuing education credits that they get. So they actually get to take this back and they can further their own education through it. And one of the things that we really, really emphasize with this is the connections with the companies. Many, many companies are more than happy to do a tour for school, for any grade of school-age children as well. Or they're more than happy to come into the classroom and help teach. And so not only do we share the hands-on like educational materials that SDMIA has produced, but we also share all of the contact information with these companies. And now there's that relationship there.
No, that's so fantastic. It's a great way to give back to the community too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're advocating, they're educating. It's like a nice full circle of like, hey, you can actually see what we're doing out here, and then you can make a judgment call of like, do you think we're doing this correctly? And chances are they are. So that's so fantastic.
I always say, I am obviously very raw mining. But it's okay if the teacher comes out of that going, I'm not necessarily like beating the mining drum, but I'm not scared of it anymore.
Right.
I'm not scared to teach about it anymore. I know more about it now, and I know and realize how important it is. And that truly is the goal. giving people the information to make their own informed opinions.
Yes, absolutely. And seeing it from both sides, right? Like they can have, we've been seeing a lot of the environmental scares going on. Like that's just a bombard from the media, but like getting that real life experience of going out to an active mine site, an active quarry, like that's where I personally think, I'm with you, is where the real value is, right? That's where you're like, oh, this is how they actually do it. This is where they actually care. And like when you talk to those people who are actively mining, like they genuinely care about the environment. They genuinely care about the safety and, making sure that they're doing things correctly and getting the proper permits and all that. So it's not like we're, willy-nilly going out there and just like digging up the lands and then just leaving it. Like those days are over. Like we have a lot more, we care about the footprint that we're going to leave behind now.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, so what else does the association do? I mean, like, what's like your favorite part, I guess, about being a member of an association? Because it seems like you're doing all of these different things. Like, I'm actually really impressed, like, how much you guys do. Because it seems like like when I talked to you in Spokane, it seemed like you're a relatively small association, but then hearing all the things that you're doing, it's like, well, maybe they have like a team of 20. I don't know.
So I am the only person who works full-time for the association. We are very, very excited though. We just hired our co-host for our podcast.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm really excited to get to work with somebody on that. But we're a relatively small association compared to an association maybe like the Nevada Mining Association or the American Exploration and Mining Association. And we're relatively new. I mean, we have only been around since about 2022.
Oh, wow.
And so I think my favorite thing that I get to do is this education piece. And it's across the board, whether I am educating legislators during the legislative session or getting to talk with the community. I mean, my favorite presentations are always the ones where it's a 20-minute presentation and I always ask the question, name one thing that's not touched by mining or minerals. I ask it at the beginning of every presentation, and then at the end, I actually leave time for the audience to try and give me their answers. And we talk about the answers and seeing things click in people's heads. It's fantastic. And it just makes me feel so accomplished that I can give back to my communities in this way. And I can educate about something I'm truly passionate about.
That's amazing. Very impressive, Ella. Very impressed with the work that you've done and just the amount that you have accomplished in being the only person. So I really hope the association continues to thrive. And tell me about this podcast that you have going.
Yeah. So we are starting a podcast. We're hoping to have the first episode out actually in August. And it's called Grounded, Mining the Facts. And so we're really focusing on that unbiased, factual information, touching on the good, the bad, the ugly of the mining industry. And we're hoping to do approximately 6 months for our first pilot season and talking about everything from stakeholder engagement to exploration to mining to the actual reclamation process and bringing in guest speakers from the industry to talk about their jobs and to talk about their own experiences here in South Dakota. Because I think that while I may be the only person who works for the association, I can't do what I do without the amazing people in this industry, whether they're serving on my board and helping to make those really big high-level decisions, or they're volunteering on a committee, or they're even just out there working every day and doing the hard stuff and producing work for me, truly. So I want to bring their stories to their communities in a way that people want to consume this type of media.
That's fantastic. I look forward to hearing about that. Yeah, I would love to learn more about what South Dakota is doing and how they operate and the players in the space. Like I think that's going to add a huge value to your members too, because then they can advocate for their own projects, right? In a very structured and non-biased way. Well, maybe a little biased, but.
a little biased, but that's okay, right?
Yeah.
We have that bias from them, but it's really important to me that we just get this information out there because I think we have a great story to tell. And I mean, between the I Am Mining campaign with the American Exploration and Mining Association and your podcast and all of the other podcasts that are in this industry that tell these great stories, I love all of that. But I also really love South Dakota. And I think that we have a very interesting story to tell. And the people who are here have an interesting story to tell
Oh, for
and
sure.
share it with their communities.
Absolutely. No, that's great. I love the local stories. So much impact there because, we all have our own little, areas of expertise, and it's always fun to hear from those like specific locations. I love that. So I hope that is awesome. I think that's going to do really well. That's a great idea for you guys and your members. So love that. Cool.
Yeah, we're really excited.
Yeah, you should be. That's so fantastic. And then like that's just such another interesting educational component as well, right? Like you're learning from the people in that space too.
Well, exactly. And I go on almost every tour I can. If I am bringing teachers or legislators or anything out to a mine site, I am on that tour.
Absolutely.
I always learn something new, and I am just enthralled with learning something new. And I never thought I was going to be in this position. I thought I was going to be working in a biology lab with bacteria. I truly never saw myself hosting a podcast. And I'm just so excited.
That's
My poor
awesome.
husband, it's all he hears about now is, oh, I'm so excited to start filming and writing this script and getting in touch with this guest speaker. And it's just going to be, I think, a phenomenal thing for South Dakota.
For sure. For sure. It's a great way to share your story. Good, good. Well, Ella, I really appreciate you taking the time. I learned a lot about South Dakota. I really hope you guys continue in doing well. I think you guys are on a great track.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you giving us the opportunity to share our story and to share about South Dakota. And thank you so much for having me on today.
Thank you. All right. Until next time, guys.